It's really interesting. Colorado, it's usually a place where there's a lot of news coming out. But after the UCLA game on Saturday, we talked a little bit about Coach Prime's comments about the offensive line. Then from there, we haven't really shared all that much. I mean, obviously, there was the incident at the Rose Bowl, the allegations of stealing from the locker room. Don't really know what I have to add to that other than that it's, inappropriate behavior, and I hope they catch whoever, and I don't blame whoever for wanting their money back, for wanting their stolen goods back. But I bring it up because it's been a quiet week otherwise. But I do think there was some very, very, very big recruiting news, and not enough people are talking about how important this is. And so that's why I decided to fire up the camera and get talking here, because I think this is major, major recruiting news. Earlier this week, Colorado got one big commitment at a position of need, but more important than that, they are trending very hard in the right direction for one of the elite prospects in all of high school football. And I might be the only one paying attention because I don't see anybody else talking about it. So let's get into it. Let's dive in. Big recruiting news that you probably already know about. Big recruiting news that you might not know about. Let's dive in. First of all, the big recruiting news that you probably do already know about. Just what was it, about 36 hours after Coach Prime's viral comments at the Rose Bowl about the need for offensive line, we got to go get ourselves some new offensive linemen. Well, help is apparently on the way, because on Monday they got a commitment from a kid by the name of Isaiah Walker Jr., 6'5", offensive tackle, junior college kid, top 10 junior college player in America, and the number 2 rated offensive tackle in all of junior college football. It's funny, sometimes coaches will make comments knowing something that is coming. John Calipari, sometimes he's kind of a master operator of, he'll say something knowing that he's about to get a commit here or recruit there, or big news here or big news there. I wonder if Coach Prime kind of hinted at this on Saturday at the Rose Bowl. Now, the offensive line was not good, but regardless, 36 hours later, they get a major commitment in Isaiah Walker Jr. And it's funny because, you look at the resume. So number 2 offensive tackle in junior college football, had major offers from places like Houston, Purdue, etc. But if you go back and look at this kid's resume overall, his body of work overall, I think he's a way better prospect than maybe even a lot of people realize, right? Because you look at, top 10 JUCO, what does it mean? What about this? What about, he has offers from Houston, he has offers from Purdue. How good could he be? Well, you go back and look, he is a very, very highly coveted prospect who has had a very, interesting college career, but at a certain point was considered one of the top high school football prospects in America, okay? So this is a kid that, first of all, he came from a really good high school program, Miami Norland High School. They've produced all sorts of NFL players, Antonio Brown, Dwayne Bowe. I mean, you go on and on down the list. But I bring it up because he went to that high school. Then after that, actually committed to Florida as part of the 2020 recruiting class. Now, unfortunately, like so many kids, COVID, homesick, this, that, decided to leave Florida, kind of bounced around a little bit, a story that a lot of people went through during that COVID era, just trying to find stability, whatever. Ends up at the University of Miami for 2 years before going to JUCO. So don't tell me this, he's just a JUCO kid. No. He was a former top 150 player in the class of 2020, committed to Florida, played at Miami. This kid is a baller. And why this is so important, you already know. This part you do not need me to tell you. It is because this kid is coming in at an absolute position of need. The offensive line, we can debate play calling this. Do they run the ball enough? That blah, 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 blah. We talked about it on Sunday. I had no problem with what Coach Prime said. Some people did, but at the end of the day, the offensive line is not good enough. And Coach Prime said it, and he's like, you guys want me to run the ball more? Well, we tried to run the ball. All of a sudden, it's 2nd and 13, and then they pin their ears back and come after the quarterback. And so you need improved play. This is what the transfer portal is for. This is what JUCO ball is for, high school ball is for. But I like that this kid is a plug-and-play guy. Yes, you want to develop players out of the high school system. That's how you develop depth. That's how you add bodies. That's how you get a roster good enough to compete at the highest level. But sometimes you need a plug-and-play veteran, and that's exactly who this kid is. He'll be a 5th-year college player at this point next year. Probably 22, 23 years old, don't have his birthday in front of him. But this is the kind of guy. He will take a visit later this fall into the winter, and he'll enroll in December. He will be there for spring ball. He will be ready to go. And in theory, if he is as good as everybody, including the evaluators, think, he will be ready to start opening week next year for Colorado. An important piece for Colorado. Now, here's the interesting news that I don't think enough people are talking about. Did you see what's going on in the high school ranks for Colorado recruiting, right? Everybody wants to talk about Coach Prime and what happens on the field and this and that. Meanwhile, he's quietly working, quietly making moves, quietly getting kids interested in his program. And earlier this week, one of the top defensive linemen, a kid by the name of, thank you everybody as always for your support of the Aaron Torres Pod and Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. And we have a major announcement as legal sports betting is now in the state of Kentucky. That is right. The Aaron Torres Pod and Aaron Torres Pod YouTube has partnered with DraftKings Sportsbook and the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And here is the best part. DraftKings has an incredible offer for listeners of the Aaron Torres Pod who are first-time customers with DraftKings. This is the deal. Here's what you need to know. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Bet $5 on any game, just $5, and you get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you use the promo code Torres. That's right. It's that simple. Again, first-time customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Bet $5 on any game, pro, college, any sport you want, and get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you use the code Torres. Thank you to our new partners, DraftKings Sportsbook. Thrilled to be working with them. Take advantage of their offer now. King Joseph, I want to make sure I get this right. King Joseph Edwards, a 4-star defensive lineman from the beautiful state of Georgia. This kid has offers from everywhere, okay? Offers from Ohio State, offer from Georgia, offer from Bama, offer from Ole Miss, offer from Florida State. Well, about 2-3 weeks ago, he basically announced that, his final 3, he was down to Ole Miss, Florida State, and Colorado. For a moment, Ole Miss was starting to trend. Florida State is obviously number 4 in the current college football playoff poll, so they're obviously a great spot as well. But then earlier this week, this is what started happening. This is where it got interesting. What got interesting was, the crystal ball started rolling in. The crystal ball, the predictions from the recruiting experts started rolling in, and they're coming in for one school. Steve Wiltfong, the guy that I consider to be the best recruiting insider out there, super plugged in, been around forever, 24/7 sports, put in a crystal ball for Colorado Buffaloes. After that, Chad Simmons, a recruiting expert in the state of Georgia. So it's not like, he talks to these high school coaches every day, these players every day. He's around these programs every day. Puts in a crystal ball at On3. I don't think they call it a crystal ball, whatever they call it there, prediction expert machine, whatever. Colorado. And oh, by the way, his colleague, Sam Spiegelman, another recruiting insider, picked Colorado for him as well. And so it appears as though Deion, Coach Prime, is about to get maybe his most important recruit on the defensive side of the football, maybe since Travis Hunter, okay? So King Joseph Edwards, 6'4", 230-pound edge rusher. This is the kind of guy that you need to compete at the highest level. I cannot emphasize it enough. Listen, we all love the fireworks. We all love the big passes, the elite wide receivers, all that. You win major football games in college, in the pros, along the defensive front. Look at the best college programs right now. Georgia, Alabama, Texas, I think, has elevated their play along the lines. Ohio State has its best defense in years. You go to the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers, what do they all have in common? Elite front sevens on defense. And it appears as though Colorado is about to get a major one in King Joseph Edwards. And I'll say this for Coach Prime. They don't have a ton of kids committed at Colorado right now. In total, I think it's like 10, 11 total players, because I do think they'll probably focus on the high school ranks. But virtually all of them are along the defensive front. Brandon Davis Swain from Michigan, Omar White from Georgia, who committed shortly after Coach Prime got the job, Eric Brantley from Georgia, shortly after Coach Prime got the job, he committed. And now you're potentially going to add King Joseph Edwards to the mix. And so I'm not going to go on and on. I'm not going to spend too much time over evaluating a kid that hasn't even officially committed yet. And maybe we'll do a separate video once he does commit. But at the same time, I give Coach Prime credit for two things. One, he's working in silence right now, man. It's amazing, right? Every person in the media wants to analyze and overanalyze his every word. Colorado, offensive line. Our offensive line isn't good enough. What does it mean? This, that, the other thing. And you know what he's doing in silence? He's just working and getting the job done. He is getting players interested in Colorado. This is the part that I don't think people realize. Everybody, we live in, and I'm getting fired up now, but we live in such a microwave society. Everybody wants instantaneous results right now, this second, etc. And it doesn't happen. And so for the people that are critical of Colorado Coach Prime, one, they're 4-4. They were 1-11 last year, completely flipped the roster, okay? But two, he is getting players at Colorado, to Colorado, interested in Colorado, that would have never even considered the school 10 months ago, 12 months, I guess not 10 months ago, but, a year ago. I mean, we are talking about one of the elite edge players in all of high school football from the state of Georgia, has offers from essentially the entire SEC. And he is on the brink of committing to Colorado over Florida State, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, whoever. I don't know if LSU is the official offer, but you get the point. And so everybody's just, well, Coach Prime, well, he promised it. No, it's a process. It's going to take time. But to get, again, Nick Saban talks about this all the time, and I'm rambling here, but this is a process-oriented sport, okay? It's a result-oriented sport, but you have to put in the process. And so I've never had a problem. I still think they're ahead of schedule, but these are the things that are happening behind the scenes that will eventually get this program to what I believe to be a championship level. Now, can I guarantee they're ever going to win a national championship? I can't. Can I guarantee they're ever going to win a Big 12 title when they get there? I can't. But what I will tell you is right now, look at the landscape of the Big 12 going into next year. Kansas State's good. Utah's good. Utah's going to come with Colorado from the Pac-12. Arizona is rapidly improving. But this is a league you can step into and have immediate success right away and then build on that to eventually be a playoff team and eventually be a top-tier team. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen with one recruiting class. You look at a Georgia, you look at an Alabama, you look at an Ohio State, the most stable programs in college football. It's a year over year consistency thing. But you've got to start somewhere. You've got to start with, you've got to start with a baseline of whatever. And this was always going to be a year where it wasn't going to be easy. But you hope to pick up momentum. You hope to build momentum and excitement so that it can be a thing that you recruit well, that in a year from now, you're better, that in 2 years from now, maybe you're competing for Big 12 titles and going to the playoff. And so I give Coach Prime so much credit because, again, he is recruiting at a level that I don't think people are giving him credit for. It's not just Travis Hunter. It's not just Cormani McClain. He is slowly starting to build the foundation at Colorado. And as I've said for weeks, I am so excited to see what the future holds because when that portal opens, it's going to be go time. They are going to get caliber of players that I don't think a lot of people realize are going to be interested in Colorado. We don't know the names yet. We don't know who they'll be. They're not going to get everybody. But if you don't think that kids around the country are looking at that program saying, I want to be part of that, and I know that at virtually every position there's playing time, you're out of your mind. So I'm so excited to see what this program does in the offseason. There's still 4 more games. You still got to focus on those. I don't want to undersell that part. But it is going to be a fascinating offseason. And lastly, as I've said many times, if you thought September, October, and November was exciting for Colorado football, wait until you see what's in store in December in recruiting. It's going to be fascinating. January, February, on and on.